As the Regalian wing came back, the CVF captain sighed. Well, we don't have anything else to fire, and I can't send my escorts into that. They'll be slaughtered. That was a Pirelli megafleet built around a Demon-class dreadnought. A ship that outmassed even the carrier by a factor of 4. The planes had done good work, but the orbitals would still fall, and after that the Pirelli would land. One of the things the Pirelli were known for was not considering other races to be people. Another thing they were known for was being obligate carnivores who turned any animals on a planet they conquered into livestock. Which is why the CVF Fortress had a wing of 36 human marine strike fighters on board. The human colony the Pirelli hit had completely rejected all other human contacts, but when humans found out about the colony, well, the desperate defense got slightly less desperate. But the fortress could rearm, refuel and replace the lost fighters, and maybe save the next world. It was time for the strike force to leave. As he sighed, he saw Commander Jones waving at him. Yes, Commander Jones? The captain asked politely. Sir, permission to take my wing on one last strike mission. Captain Martok tilted his head. Do you have more missiles I don't know about? Not that you don't know about, but I have 36 maneuverable weapons that can blow big holes in that demon class. Maybe hurt it enough that the Pirelli have to go home for repairs. It took a moment for what the human meant to sink in. But you won't survive. If those were Navy interceptors, sure. But we are Marines, and the Corps snuck a few modifications into our ships. Is why we don't have a pretty canopy to look out like the rest of you. Indeed, when Martok had reviewed the ships, the design had been surprising. The pilots lay in what looked disturbingly like a coffin to control their craft. The Regalian looked at the humans. 35 lined up in formation behind their commander. How could he say no? What do you need? All the fuel you can spare. The more fuel, the more boom. We have external tanks if you have enough. Martok gave the orders and drained the carrier dry. His fighters were useless, so it wasn't like he needed any. He had given the honor of last strike to his one race, but now the humans would have that honor, and had earned it. Commander Jones looked at his men and women. He barked, "Are you ready?" His pilots snapped back, "Always ready," like it was drilled into them. As they climbed into their craft, the commander whispered, "Semper Fidelis." As the wing took off, it was clear that the battle was lost. Orbital fortresses were still firing here and there, but the earlier coordinated fire was gone. The Pirelli noticed the incoming craft and contemptuously sent 2 destroyers to intercept. Jones called out, "Barker, Wingnut, you got 'em?" Wingnut said, "We'll take them apart," and Barker did his signature howl. The 2 strike craft left the formation and sped towards the destroyers. "Coffin active," Wingnut said. The destroyers were firing only some of their weapons, keeping most of their guns ready for the craft to launch missiles. The 2 skilled pilots dodged most of the fire. One shot got lucky and hit Barker's left external fuel tank, but he was able to jettison it before it went up. By the time they realized what the humans were doing, it was too late. Barker slammed into the center of the Pirelli ship and went about 1/3 of the ship's length before the fuel exploded. Wingnut had to show off, taking his craft through the bridge of the other destroyer. Both ships were now crippled wrecks. Jones had tried to find an appropriate song for the run, but his AI suggested a poem, and quickly reading it, he agreed, though he put some appropriate background music behind it. They call you a demon. They fear your name. The poem continued as the fighters darted into the massive fleet. Your joy is terror. You feast on pain. Now that the Pirelli knew what the humans planned, it got tricky. More ships moved to intercept, and if they used the same tactic, they wouldn't stop the dreadnought. I am no one, new to this land. Frankfurter got pegged and exploded. Shorely got pinned, but managed to take a destroyer with her. Brownout got hit from behind by a missile. But between you and the innocent, I will stand. Ace, trying to show off as usual, hit a cruiser. Darwin Freebase went down right after. Jones had to focus on his own flying, and lost track of the fight. One little man versus monstrous foe. A whoop went over the channel, cut short. Another Pirelli screen destroyer fell, burning out of formation. But even one can stand versus woe. Of 34 strike craft, 16 made it past the gauntlet, though a cruiser and 3 more destroyers paid a price in return. The Demon opened fire, heedless of its shots hitting other Pirelli craft. Towards the beast the man did run. Leroy was clipped, lost control, and was easily finished off. Shuttle zigged when she should have zagged. A monster's blow, the man was done. Jones didn't see what happened, but rerun and snaps were off his tack. But then the beast began to burn. Jones counted. 7 of his team had fallen on that final run. You came from hell. Now you return. But 9 strike craft, loaded with paradeuterium, hit the massive ship. Each dug deep into his target, before both engine and fuel tanks exploded, driving a special missile even further into the hull. Jones shook himself. He didn't know if his back would ever be the same. Then he wryly thought, not that I expect to live much longer. He grabbed his kit and rifle and hit the button to pop the coffin. Every Marine's a rifleman, he said, as he checked his weapon and grenades. Then he set off to find something important. He heard running feet and ducked into what seemed to be a server room. Getting low, he peeked out, seeing 4 Pirelli with rifles scanning the area. Catch, he said, sending a grenade arcing their way. He was pretty sure they didn't understand English, but one of them did try to catch it. All of them were looking at it when it exploded, driving metal fragments through their eyes and deep into their brains. Ghosts, this is Ghost Actual, call out. He waited, his heart failing as each 3-second count passed silently. Ghost 7, he finally heard. Ghost 11. Ghost 16. A long pause. Ghost 31. Ghost 33. 5 left, meaning 30 of the folks he had trained with for over a year were gone. But where there is life, there is hope. Anybody near something good? Knick-Knack answered. Found an armory, having fun using their own weapons against them. Juice said, I found a galley. I wasted a grenade on the folks eating. Jones didn't think there was a waste, but was pretty sure Juice didn't either. Then Tulip said, Everyone aim for me, I found the power room. Jones pulled the tac map. They were scattered on the huge ship, but he was actually only about 700 meters from Tulip. It took Jones 10 minutes to travel half of that, as he had to climb 3 floors and kill 2 patrols. He got a through shot in his left arm, but it only hit meat, so he bandaged it and kept moving. 5 minutes later, he was within 20 meters. That's when Tulip's life signs went dark. Jones slammed through the door and found himself nose to snout with 2 Pirelli, both holding a leg of Lieutenant Hamden Tulip Stone. Jones put 3 rounds into the closest, stomach, chest, head, letting the recoil have its way. Before he could shoot the other, it had dropped the leg and grabbed Jones's rifle with 2 hairy paws. The Pirelli was larger, stronger, and was lifting the rifle. Soon it would be out of Jones's hands and the alien could use its claws to finish the fight. Something in Jones snapped. "You aren't people," he growled, then bit the left paw of the alien hard. It pulled back its wounded limb, letting Jones turn his gun and fire. He spat out the chunk of bloody digit and fired again, making sure. He looked at Tulis' body, torn to pieces. Then at the power room, now empty. "Nobody is going to eat you, buddy," he said, as he did the grisly task of picking up body parts and putting them next to a main power regulator. "Juice, Knick-Knack, Bug, find escape pods. This demon is going back to hell." 2 Marines' worth of grenades should be enough to crack even the tritium crystal protecting the regulator. He would need distance due to the plasma conduit, but that was why grenades had timers. Setting them, he ran around the corner and kept running. "Everyone out?" Bug answered. "At a pod. A few dead bears around me." Knick-Knack said, "Almost there, I think, unless I have the map upside down." Then Juice said, "Oh, fuck. Well, it's been real." The others heard gunfire from his comm. Then the blast went off. Jones felt it even 2 bulkheads away. He had set all the grenades to maximum yield thermal. Alarms began to sound, and Jones looked at the TAC for an escape pod, noting that Juice was now dark. He was near the center of the ship, and all the damage they did earlier with the crashes must have taken out some failsafes. Massive power surges all over the ship, including the engines and weapons bays, are generally not the best thing for little things like structural integrity and not being on fucking fire. Jones saw Bug and Knick-Knack move out of signal range, and was glad they were on escape pods. Then he saw the fire rushing towards him. Martok watched the demon explode in awe, but his escort still could not match the remaining Pirelli ships. They would need to retreat, leaving any of the humans in life pods to be picked up by the Pirelli. Then he had an idea. "How many fighters still have fuel?" His XO looked at him in horror. "Sir, you can't mean to copy the humans." "No, but the Pirelli don't know that." So almost 200 strike fighters moved towards the Pirelli fleet. The aliens promptly broke off bombardment and left the system. 5 Marines were recovered from escape pods. Ace, Bug, Shirley, Knick-Knack, and Loner. They presided over 31 funerals in space. For the first time, the Pirelli had been stopped. But it wouldn't be the last.